So, hi everyone, this is our second lecture, and in this video we will learn how to read the data from keyboard. So mostly programmers who are already known to C and C++ want to know how to read the data from keyboard. For example, in C we use scanf, in C++ cin. But how do we read data in Java? So we will explore this thing in today's lecture. So let's start. Java provides a class called a scanner that is used for reading data from different sources. So you might be wondering what could be the different sources. We will learn that later, but here we will focus on reading data from the keyboard. So if the keyboard is source, so how do we read data from it? So for this purpose, the scanner class is available and it is present in util package. As mentioned earlier, there are built-in packages in Java and one of them is util. This class has been available since version 5.0 or you can say the JDK 1.5. So here I have list of methods available in a scanner class. We will look at them later. First, let's use the scanner class. I already have the program and I already imported the java.util to use the scanner. Now, how we use a scanner? So let's just see this thing. First, create an object. This is the class name and this is the constructor and S is the reference to the scanner. To this, we assign system.in. In previous program, we saw that system.out is for output, so which is for monitor. So similarly, system.in is for the keyboard. This object is associated with the keyboard, so it is given to the scanner. You can imagine that this is the keyboard. The scanner object is logical object assigned to it. So whatever you type from here comes through this scanner object to your program. Or you can say the scanner works like a pipe to read data from the keyboard. So now we'll write a program to add two numbers. So we'll take two numbers from the keyboard and display their sum. For that we need some variables. Okay, just take A, B and C. Then we would first display a message to indicate that we are taking input. This is a common practice like cout for output and cin for input in C++. So similar way. To read the numbers, we use the scanner. So how do we read it? Here are some methods available in the scanner class. Since we want to read integers, we will use the nextInt method. So this will read an integer number from the keyboard. Make sure to enter only integer values. This method returns an integer value, which is stored in A. Similarly, I will read the next number also. That will get stored in B. Then I'll add both the numbers and take the output in C. And finally, we're going to display this result. So this is how the output will appear on the screen. So for example, you took A as 15 and B as 10. So the output going to be 25. So it's going to come as the sum is 25 because sum is our string and we are adding this C here. In C and C++, we usually use a comma for separation, but in Java, we use plus for concatenation. These are the statements used to read two numbers and display the results. Next, we will see all the methods available in scanner class. So the nextInt methods, it reads an integer. So if you want to read a floating number or a double number, nextDouble, then just go for the next float or nextDouble. These are commonly used data types, so I have just listed them first here. To read a string like a character or name, we use next. To read a sentence, if you want to read multiple lines, then you have to use the next line method. The difference in next, it just reads one word while next line reads the entire sentence. Other methods are also available such as the nextByte, nextShort, nextLong and nextBoolean. These methods support different data types in Java. And if you need to confirm the type of data before reading it, use the methods like hasNextInt. This method returns a Boolean value, either true or false. So for example, before reading an integer, you can check if the next value is actually an integer. If it is, you can proceed with reading it. If not, then you can just avoid it. So these methods helps to validate input before processing it. There are more methods in this class which we will explore later, but this was just an introduction to reading data from keyboard, so I took this much only. Now let's write another program to read a person's name and display a welcome message. So I'll just remove the previous codes and write a new one. First, we're going to declare a variable of type string and call it as name. Then, just give a prompt message, enter your name. Since a name can have more than one word, so we're going to use the next line to read a full line of input. Then, we're going to assign this s.next line to the name. Whatever input we're going to get into this next line, it will get assigned to the name. Then we'll just print a welcome message. Welcome and then name. We are attaching it with the string by adding this summation. So this is a simple program. If you're familiar with C and C++, you can convert basic programs into Java to get used to with the Java coding. And this is the simplest way to read data from keyboard in Java. So now let's look at the demonstration of reading from the keyboard. I already have explained this thing on the presentation, so I will now demonstrate and show you the same thing. I might give you some more details here. So I already have this skeleton of Java program here, and the program name is the read from key. So first I will save the program. Here I will select as save as, and the name would be the read from key.java. This is saved in one of my folders, which name is Java folder. Now, as I have discussed, there is a class called scanner. So I will create an object of a scanner and call it as S. S is equals to new scanner. This scanner should be attached to the keyboard. There is a built-in object called system.in, which is already attached to the keyboard provided by Java. So system.in means it is reference to the keyboard. Now scanner will be reading from the keyboard. Here I will try to read one integer value and see the result. So I will write int x is equals to s dot nextInt. So this will read an integer, and I also have to display it on screen, so I'll be writing the system.out.println. Just like system.in is an object attached to the keyboard, system.out is an object attached to the monitor, or you can say it's a display device. And it has a method called the println. So println prints the output and moves the cursor to the next line. So here this ln means it will move the cursor to the next line. And this is a simple code that reads an integer and displays it. And one thing I mentioned, that scanner class is available in util package. So we have to keep in mind that we have to import this package before running this program. Otherwise it's gonna give you an error. Now we're gonna save the file and we'll come on command prompt. And start with using javac, then the file name .java. That is the read from key.java. Now I'll clear the screen and run it. So for running, we will use Java read from key, where read from key is the file name. As I already told you these things in my previous video where we just talked about the skeleton of Java program, but let's just continue with this. And also you can press the up arrow key to recall all these previous commands, so you don't have to write everything again and again. And now we will input 300 and we got output as 300 only. So here you can see that it has printed 300. So it is the reading an integer. There also a method for reading a float number, and we had seen that it was the float and double. So we just need to replace int x is equals to s dot nextInt with nextFloat. Now we will save file, compile and run it. It's gonna have the same process, javac, file name, then Java and the file name. Everything is same except that I changed the variable type to float and updated input method. So now I will compile by pressing the up arrow key, and it compiles successfully. It will run the program and we're gonna enter 45.8, and it exactly printed 45.8 with a decimal. So this is our float type. Now let's try another data type. So I'll take a string and use next line. So let's just see what happens. I'll compile and run it. So I got an error because I didn't use .java here. So I have to just change and use .java. Java C read from key.java. This should be our command. So let's just use it. It got compiled successfully. Now we will run it. Java read from key. So this is our file name. And now it's asking for input. So our input gonna be hello, good morning. And it read entire input that we gave because we used next line. So let's just see the difference in next line and next. Now we are using next, and let's see what happens if we are giving the same input again. So again we just compiled and run. Now it will ask for input and we're gonna put the input here. So again I compiled and run from Java read from key. Now it's asking for input. So let's just put an input. Ohayou gozaimasu. This is the Japanese greeting word. So you can see that it just took the first letter of our entire line. Just the first word. Pardon me for the letter. It took our first word. Again, let's just give an input again. So here we'll give, let's just say, hey all, what you doing? So it just took hey. So this is how these things work. Like next line takes your entire input, and next it just take the first word. And now we'll just go to the another program. Here we will take two inputs, A and B, and their type is int. So now we are writing a simple program for the summation of A and B, where A and B are variable and we are giving the data type as int. And the same thing, our scanner object and A and B. So you can see that first we had next, s.next. But is it true? No, obviously it's not, because next is for reading a character. And what about next line? Is it true? So obviously not, because next line is for the strings. So you can think that for the integer we have to use int. If we use next or next line, it's gonna throw an error. So let's just put this A is equals to s.nextInt, and B we will assign nextInt input to B. So first input would be taken in A and second input would be taken in B. And we're gonna print the result of A plus B. And now let's just save it and compile and run our program. Compile our program using the up arrow key. So Java C read from key.java. Then again we're gonna have the Java read from key. Now it's asking for input. So we're gonna put the input as 10 and the second input as 20. And we are getting the output 30 because it's a summation of A and B. Now let's look to the few more things. So now here I'm using the scanner class, and if I want to know what all methods are available in a scanner class and how to find them. So for that, Java provides a utility called the javap. So the javap command allows us to view the methods of any particular class. And to check the methods available in a scanner class, we can use the command in the following format. So in our case, javap, we are using util package, so java.util.scanner. This will display all the methods available in the scanner class. So if we are using an ID, it will automatically prompt and so some of the methods in Java class are next. Then we have hasNext with the different parameters input. Next line, then nextByte and nextByte with int parameter. The hasNextByte and so many. Let's see some more. Next long, next float, next double. and each of these methods correspond to a different data type. Now let's see one more method, that is the useRadix, and then the parameter is int. So I'll remove everything from the previous program and just make it simple. Here I'll declare one variable, that is int x. And before reading input, I will use the useRadix method. So s dot useRadix, and I'm giving input as 2, I mean the parameter. So this means the program will interpret input as a binary number. So now I'll read an integer value using the x is equals to s dot nextInt. We are getting a number and we are assigning it to our x. And then I'll display the value using the system.out.println, and the value we're gonna print it here. Although we're gonna enter a binary number and the program will display it as the decimal equivalent. So let's just run the program now. Now we would save and run it just using the up arrow command, and it's the java c read from key.java, then java read from key. This is our file, and it's asking for input, so we're gonna give input as 1001. So this is the 17, and then oh sorry, I just had to run it. So let's just run the program again. Now it's asking for input, and we're gonna give the 1100, and it's the 12 in the decimal form. And let's run again. So for this time, let's use 1111, and it's 15. So you can see that it's giving us the output. So that's all for now. You now know how to read input from the keyboard. Now check the available methods using the javap and practice this. And soon we will start writing some more Java programs along with some exercises. So that's all for today. Keep learning, keep practicing.